Hey there, good morning to you. How you doing? It's Monday morning, the 21st of October 2019. And I'm Richie Allen. Nice to see you this morning, to see you nice. Hope you had a nice weekend, whatever you did and whomever you did it with. Brand new week of live streams and radio shows. Lots to talk about this week. A lot of things happening, of course. Not just Brexit. A little bit of Brexit chat for a few minutes. I see I've not turned my... See, I'm hearing myself back now. Let me just turn the volume down. That's my little monitor, you see. If you're ever likely to make a mistake, it'll be a Monday morning, right? Yeah, so all is good. There's some really interesting things inside the papers today, some interesting subjects and articles that are not to do with Brexit. You might be happy to hear that. But we had this so-called extraordinary sitting of MPs on Saturday in Westminster, and we were told it was a crunch moment for the government, as the deal or the withdrawal agreement, the new one that has been agreed between the government and the European Union, would be put before members of Parliament and they would vote on it. But they didn't. They didn't because of an amendment to that bill by Sir Oliver Letwin. And that amendment basically said that MPs would not vote on the new withdrawal agreement until all the necessary legislation basically has been seen and reviewed and itself has been passed. So that scuppered Johnson and scuppered the government, and Saturday amounted to, well, a big anticlimax really. So what's going to happen today? Well, there's news coming in. Let me bring you the news that's coming in. This is from the BBC in the last couple of minutes, and it says Number 10 will push again for vote today on Boris Johnson's deal. So the government has announced, or Boris Johnson's cabinet, his press secretary has announced in the last couple of minutes that that Parliament MPs must be given today, Monday, a straight up and down vote on his new Brexit agreement. The BBC says a couple of days after MPs delivered a major blow to his strategy on Saturday, Johnson was forced by law to send a letter asking the European Union for an extension. He sent 3 letters, bizarrely. One of them was a photocopy of a request for an extension until January 31st next year, but he didn't sign it. And the other one was a letter that he sent to Donald Tusk and to Jean-Claude Juncker, basically reiterating that he doesn't want a delay and that they shouldn't want a delay either, and that there's nothing to be gained from a delay, that we've got to get this through once and for all. So he wants a vote today, a clear yes or no vote from MPs on the new withdrawal agreement that he has reached with the European Union. But it's not clear whether the Speaker of the House, John Bercow, will in fact allow that, because Bercow could say, well, it amounts to the same thing you tried to get through on Saturday. And there are clear rules and guidelines around that, not bringing back the same vote again. So we'll have to wait and see what happens today. There you go. All right. That's breaking news. The BBC says what happens now. So if the government does make a second attempt to hold this meaningful vote today, giving the MPs a choice between approving or opposing his new agreement, it might not be allowed. As it says here, Bercow could rule it out on the grounds that it amounts to debating the same matter twice. The European Union hasn't yet said whether it will ask the remaining 27 member states to allow this extension or not, but they probably will. And I'm going to leave that there now because, I'm tired of talking about it. We're not leaving the European Union, ever. And this is obvious. It should be obvious now. Right, what else was there on that? Yeah, you understand amendments now. I explained amendments on the Sunday View radio programme yesterday. Any legislation drafted by members of Parliament. Legislation is drafted by the government. The government, the sitting government, gets the power, gets the right, achieves the right once it is elected to draft legislation, to propose legislation. Opposition MPs and opposition parties don't have that right. Legislation is proposed by government and it is put before all members of the House. But before it is voted on, anybody can propose an amendment to it. Okay, well, I've seen what you're proposing as new legislation. Here's an amendment. What Letwin did on Saturday was said, well, no, you can't have your withdrawal vote, not until we've seen all of the legislation around it and until all of that legislation itself has passed. Therefore, you can't have your vote. Bercow allowed it to be voted on, for the amendment to be voted on, and it was carried, meaning that Johnson couldn't have his meaningful vote on Saturday. I'm sure you understand that now. I know you're not stupid. I know you're not. It's not a question of me suggesting that you're thick. It's just for a lot of people, it just gets, it's that inane, it's that asinine. For a lot of people, it just drives them mad. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Well, there you are. This is what's going on. All right. Okay. I'm on early this morning, by the way, and thanks for bearing with me, because there's a guy coming along at 10 o'clock to do a whole morning full of banging and drilling. Okay, so I'm here with you now. Right. The papers. The Financial Times. Johnson sticks to Brexit deal as faith rises in Westminster victory. Johnson believes if he gets to hold this meaningful vote, he might carry it, because there are enough Labour rebels and 10 or 12 of the Conservative Party 21 that were kicked out of the party for not supporting Johnson previously. They're now amenable to his deal. So he reckons he might just have the numbers to carry the deal. But, and I said we'd stop the Brexit talk, but amendments. Labour are saying, well, we have another amendment. And that amendment would be, before we have his straight up and down withdrawal vote, let's have an amendment that says for him to have his vote on the deal that he's got with the European Union, let's amend it by saying that if it is carried, we stay in the customs union and we have a second referendum. This is just a mess. And you'll see as we go along what's really going on, right? Financial Times. The Metro. Now we have the numbers. The iPaper. Labour to back deal if second referendum is included. This is Keir Starmer, the shadow Brexit secretary. He conceded as much on the BBC's Andrew Marr show yesterday. It's laughable, really. Marr says to him, so Johnson's deal, his withdrawal agreement is terrible, it's worse than remaining, and it's dreadful for the country. And Keir Starmer says, yeah. And Marr says, but you'll vote for it, so long as there is an amendment to it that you can have a second referendum. And Starmer went, yeah. So it's a shit deal, but you'll vote for it so long as you can have a second referendum on it. And of course, the second referendum will be two choices, binary. Choice number 1, you accept the shit deal. Choice number 2, you stay in the European Union. There is no third choice, which would be leave with no deal whatsoever. Of course. Yeah. The Mail, the Daily Mail, fury at Labour plot to wreck Brexit. Corbyn plans to sabotage PM's deal and set up a second referendum. Yeah. Jeremy Corbyn, long-time Eurosceptic, man who campaigned for decades to get the UK out of the European Union, a man who told the truth for many years about the European Union and what it means for working class people like myself and like yourself. Maybe you don't see yourself as working class. What it means for people. For years, him and Tony Benn and others, European Union is shocking. This is the irony. Socialists, or I'm not going to get into it, but trade unionists, the most ardent skeptics and critics of the European Union for decades, understanding what it meant for people and where it would go. But now Corbyn, for political reasons and for manoeuvrings, is, he's a Remainer now. Indeed. Where are we? That was the Mail. What's the Guardian saying? Labour seeks new alliance to kill off PM's Brexit deal. This is an allegation that the Democratic Unionist Party going to go along with Labour and Labour's amendment. So if Johnson tries to get a vote today, first of all, Bercow might not let him do it, but if he does do it, there'll be amendments tabled. And one of them will be customs union and second referendum. I know, it is a shit show. The Times, Downing Street says Labour is trying to stop Brexit. Tell us something we don't know. Of course it is. The Daily Express. The Sunday Express headline yesterday was, why won't they let us leave? Today's is equally as, well, not equally, that's dramatic. How dare they? New plot to hijack Brexit. Look, Brexit is gone. It was gone 3 years ago. It's not a new plot. It's not going to happen. It's the Telegraph. PM faces guerrilla war over new vote on deal. The guerrilla war is a reference to the Democratic Unionist Party. The DUP, lot going on for the DUP today. They're contesting or kicking off over the fact that in Northern Ireland today it becomes law. Same-sex marriage becomes law. Excuse me. And abortion is decriminalised in the North today. So they've a lot going on, the DUP. They're not happy. They're not happy at all. There's Meghan Markle, the actress there, who married Harry Hewitt. And, yeah, they're not happy about the press attention they are receiving. The Sun, Bad Blood Brothers. ITV documentary, I think it's ITV anyway, has interviewed Harry Hewitt and his wife. And in it, he talks about mental health quite a bit, because this is all the rage now. And how his own mental health hasn't been great. And how he sometimes falls out with his brother, with Brav. Falls out with Brav. He falls out with Brav. Yeah. That's a pile of shite, that. We don't care about that, do we? That's the Sun. Today's Mirror. Treated like slaves. This is interesting, this. Because Amazon is conducting tours of some of its facilities in a public relations exercise to convince you and me that the horror stories about how its staff are treated are, well, unfair, and that its staff are like the Seven Dwarves, basically. They go about whistling merrily, happy to be in the Amazon warehouses, and everything is hunky-dory. But the Mirror has spoken to and featured some of the staff at some of the warehouses saying that they're basically treated like shit. And I'm pretty sure that's the case. That's the Mirror there. Today. And the Star, Trick or Heat. It's a balmy week this week, apparently. But by Halloween, it'll be -6 in some parts of the country. There you are. All right. Good. Good. Hey, just before we have a quick look at some of the newspapers, just a quick hello to Robinski, who's in Australia. Robinski. To Australia, Kekovich, how you doing? To Yarland, to Joe Public, to Misty, to Matt in Massachusetts, to Hodgod, to Chris, to David Jury in Mallorca. How you doing, David Jury in Mallorca? It'll be nice in Mallorca, won't it? To Strip Bear, how you doing? To Coca Bell, good morning, Matthew Hughes. Mr. Allen Orr 25. I am a bit early today. Just today, I'll be back to normal tomorrow. 4 Jam Lines, how you doing? Who says, Cull the Bodgers. Yeah, Bex Hill there. Matt Cook, Ghost Gaming. Josh Ratcliffe. Lovely. Good morning to Safi Kamal. How you doing, Safi? And I've caught quite a few people on the hop today with the early start. I appreciate that. I could have said something about it yesterday, but it slipped my mind. So it did. So just to finish up briefly on Brexit, there's the Times front page. Downing Street says Labour is trying to stop Brexit. Well, of course it is. It's kind of like the well, duh story of the day, right? Did we need to be told that? Indeed. What else have we got? Same newspaper, The Telegraph. The DUP threatens to unite with Labour to back customs union amendment that would bring down Brexit deal. That's in The Telegraph there. There's Nigel Dodds there of the DUP. And there's old Sammy sitting next to him there. And there's Hannah Soubry, one-time Conservative Party MP who defected the splitter as well. Yeah. Good stuff. What else have we got? What else have we got? And Ian Duncan Smith, former Conservative Party leader, is writing in the Telegraph today that Boris Johnson is growing stronger in the eyes of the public because he is being perceived as the man standing up to the Remainer Parliament. Now, this is very interesting because this is how Boris Johnson is being shaped. This is how his image is being crafted. You know, they're going to turn Boris Johnson into a kind of a Donald Trump-esque figure. That's their plan. It is, really, to portray him as the champion of the people, when in fact Boris Johnson is no Brexiteer, really, not at heart. He was a Europhile and a Remainer. When I say Remainer, but prior to him jumping on the Vote Leave bandwagon, he would have been very much a supporter of Britain's membership of the European Union. Just like Jeremy Corbyn, Johnson does what Johnson does these days for Johnson's political career. He's no real Brexiteer, don't believe it or imagine it for a minute. And he is relishing and revelling in what's to come. And that is us not to leave the European Union, but him blaming everybody else for that eventuality. And then in a future general election, which will happen very soon, again pitting himself as the great champion of the disenfranchised 17.4 million people, because it was 17.4 million people that voted to leave back in June of 2016, June 23rd to be exact. So it's an interesting piece in the Telegraph today by Ian Duncan Smith. We might just leave Brexit now, because there are some interesting things in the newspapers today. Very interesting things today. This is interesting. Andrea Leadsom, the former leader of the House, she's a Conservative Party MP. And Leadsom today is lamenting the hostility shown to people who work in the public eye, but particularly politicians. And we did see on Saturday a couple of clips of MPs being heckled by large groups of people, protesters. Jacob Rees-Mogg was shouted at and heckled while he was walking with his son. She was heckled. Andrea Leadsom. Basically any politician passing large groups of people were heckled. And Leadsom says in this article here, I mean, I love this stuff. You always get this virtue signalling from MPs and politicians in general about why they came into public life to make the world a better place. No, they didn't. These people are highly motivated, selfish, egocentric, narcissistic climbers, money hungry, status hungry climbers. They couldn't give a fucking shit about people. None of them have ever given a shit or a rat's arse about people. They are only in it for the exorbitant amount of money they are paid to do fuck all, because they don't do anything other than fuck all. What else do they do? They certainly don't go about their daily business. They don't get up in the morning, have a shave, or slap the old fucking war paint on and say to themselves, I'm going to go out there today and I'm going to make things better for people in my community. No, they fucking don't. They go out there to do that which they are told to do by their corporate financier backers and the banksters they serve. And what's happened in recent years is people have become just that bit more aware of who these people are. And here, of course, Brexit has a lot to do with that. And people are angry. They are absolutely raging. And the only means by which they can speak to these people is on social media, where they get to be abusive to them. And what you're getting more and more with the likes of Leadsom, and on the other side, that horrible Stella fucking Creasy, and that rotten Jess Phillips and others, is they're using a little bit of abuse online, which they totally fucking deserve. Now, nobody deserves to be threatened with violence or with rape. That's just silly. And it's only a tiny, 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 tiny group of people who will do that. And when they do that, mute them or block them. It's only a tiny group of people who do that. And it's not serious. But a lot of it is vitriolic abuse, mostly swearing. It's mostly people calling them fucking traitors and swearing at them and saying, you fucking hateful, treacherous bastard, on Twitter. Bit strong, that. Yeah, it's not how I interact with people on Twitter, personally, but I understand why people would do that. Because they are hateful, fucking treacherous bastards, every one of them. Whores and whoremasters is all they are. Working on behalf of the biggest corporations on planet fucking Earth, while you're starving. Can barely make ends meet. And you know what? I speak for myself here. And I don't want anybody's pity. Because we're not going to die of fucking hunger, but we barely get to the end of the month. My missus and I, every month. And we have it better than most. Because most people don't get to the end of the month without having to go and borrow from some fucking gangster fucking lender on the high street who loans money at 1,000% fucking interest. Or they have to borrow from a neighbour or from a member of their family. They're fucked because of people like her. Oh, it's terrible, the hostility in public life. I tell you what, love, you better be thankful it is the way it is now, because it's going to get a lot worse for people like you. And I don't endorse it. I do not endorse violence, but it's coming for people like her and others. It is. And they'll only have themselves to blame. And I do not endorse it. I am not advocating it. I am not fucking green lighting it. I tell my listeners, do not raise a hand against anybody in anger, ever. Only in self-defense. But I say to these people, when it does come knocking on your fucking door, I'll be here saying, I fucking told you. Driving people to violence they are. But of course they won't see it. They'll be in gated communities with fucking Mossad type security guards armed to the teeth when people do eventually say enough's enough now. Dreadful. The cheek of her. The fucking cheek of her. The money they earn, 100,000 base salary, that's before they get paid for the committees they're on. These fuckers. The cheek of them talking about a little bit of abuse on social media. Anyway, the Times, to its credit, is really going after this Prince Andrew from the paedophile supporting family. Interesting piece in there today. I won't get into it in any great depth now. I might get into it later on or in the week. But lots of talk in the Times, in the Sunday Times and in the Saturday Times about this guy's relationship with Epstein and how he had lots of different mobile phone numbers. Andrew did. Epstein had them all. This guy took fucking... he was a willing participant in orgies, and there were girls brought to those orgies who were underage. It's good that the Times won't drop this. It really is. I don't know what's going on. I know this is a Rupert Murdoch newspaper. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But somebody at the Times is saying, let's stay on this guy. I don't know. You can call me naive if you want. Because I'm not saying it's going to go anywhere. But I'm saying fair play to them. They're on, right? They're on it. They won't let it go. What else have we got? I was going to get into this on Sunday View yesterday morning, but I ran out of time. What do you mean you ran out of time, Richie? You can... Yeah, I can stay on the air, but Sunday View needs to be an hour long. Because it repeats every hour on the air. But then I went over by a few minutes yesterday anyway. I should have fucking stayed on, but anyway. Here's an interesting story. Stop erasing women. Consumers pledged to boycott Always sanitary towels after the brand ditched the Venus logo from their products in response to pressure from trans rights campaigners. This is maddening stuff now. Not going to rant about it. Not going to get excited about it. Excuse me, I'm just going to burp 4 times. Excuse me. I have a lot of wind this morning. A lot of hot air. Stop erasing women. Yeah, so Always, which makes sanitary products for the ladies, responded to this fuckwit in the glasses there, who said It's not just women that use your products. It's trans people and non-binaries. Non-binaries makes a perverse sense, even though I don't support taking the Venus symbol away for non-binary. Because you might have a woman who says that she's non-binary. Right? Non-binary is the greatest load of fuckery ever foisted upon the human race. So is the idea of multiple genders. So is the notion of confusing or blurring the lines between sex and gender. They're the fucking same. I don't care what anybody says. There's only male and there is only female. You're wrong, Richie. What about people born with both sex organs? Yes, hermaphrodites and all this. Yes, but it's an anomaly. Men and women. That's what you have. And I don't know why these organisations bow down to these fuckwits. Because they must have learned from Flora Margarine. I mean, they must know that it is women that is using their products. And it is women's business they are likely to lose. What are they thinking? Oh, we better take the Venus symbol away or we'll lose all the trans and non-binary business. But your trans and non-binary business is fucking zero. You fucking idiots. Come on. What's happening, folks? What's going on? Look at this fuckery, look. 18-year-old trans activist Ben Saunders. Jesus Christ. Oh, for fuck's sake. Contacted always in June complaining about the sign. This dickhead here. I don't care whether you think, it's a bit harsh. I don't care. You put yourself out there. You're going to fucking get it. Simple as that. You're going to get it. Oh, you have to go easy on... No, I'm not going easy on these people. Fuck him. Fuck him or her or that, whatever it considers itself to be. You fucking dickhead. Right? But you know, again, I say it again. I don't blame him as much as I blame the manufacturers of the sanitary products. What are you doing? What are you doing? A short, sharp email response. Dear Ben, fuck off. Regards, Always Sanitary Products. Have a nice day. What are we going to do? These fuckers are going to be nursing us in care homes in the future. Do you know that? You know that? We're going to die of asphyxiation. We're going to drown in our senior citizens' nappies. So full of fucking shit will they become. Because these fuckers supposed to be looking after us are going to be spending all their time like this. Fucking zombies. That's what you're going to have looking after you in the future. That. This is brilliant in RT. This is brilliant. And this is so frustrating, this. One of the writers for RT picked up on a fact that The Guardian wrote a piece about inclusivity, but left white kids out of it. Now this does interest me. I've not avoided this stuff, but because I'm amused by the alt-right and the far right and this whole white genocide stuff, which makes me laugh. But I'm not immune or I'm not insensitive to what is happening in the media around race and gender. So they published a feel-good article to The Guardian. You can read it there about how 15-year-olds are completing tasks using old equipment. So it's an interesting piece. Get some kids to try and do some latter-day tasks using old equipment. But they didn't get any white kids. They got a load of ethnic minority children to do it. And there's a very good article in RT about that. There's also a very good article about the BBC TV licence, which we'll come to in a minute. I'll have to fucking get me skates on because there's lots going on. Excuse my French. So yeah, this is hilarious, right? You run these articles. The article itself is not a piece about race or inclusivity. That aspect isn't even touched upon. They just use a whole bunch of ethnic minority children, does The Guardian. And the author of the article here says it's an agenda. And we're seeing it time and time again. I sat down yesterday and watched the Manchester United-Liverpool match on Sky Sports, which kicked off at 4:30. But before the game, Sky ran a series of you know how they present these soccer shows. So in the studio, they've got a couple of famous foreign players and they're going to analyse the game. Jose Mourinho, Roy Keane, Graham Souness, so on, so on, so on. But before the game, Sky run little pieces about the history of the fixture, how important it is. You know, it's one of the great games in world sport, up there with the LA Lakers against the Boston Celtics, up there with Rangers and Celtic, with Barca and Real Madrid. It's Manchester United and Liverpool. And it ran these little video montages, and they were full of black people and women. It made me fucking laugh. You had these black brothers walking towards Old Trafford, one wearing a United shirt, the other wearing a Liverpool shirt. Then you had an Asian woman with a scarf looking wistfully to the camera, you know, about how important this game is. Ethnic minorities and women. And the vast majority of people attending the fucking game will be white. And I was watching it and I was boiling watching it, thinking, this is do you know what it is with me? It's got nothing to do with the ethnicity. It's got to do with me not wanting to be manipulated. Stop fucking manipulating me. Stop doing that. Holy fuck. And to compound it this morning, I swear to God, I'm in Buell Hill Park in Salford this morning with the dog in the pitch black. I'm in good form, all right. I am. I'm always in good form, me. I'm in good form. Every morning I wake up alongside the future Mrs. Allen and I look over her and I go, it's going to be a good day. I'm a romantic. I love that woman. I look over and I go, yeah, it's going to be a good day. So I get the dog, head for the park. I switch on Radio 5 Live. Rachel Burden is on there. I shit you not. And I'm listening to it, right, like this, because I don't have me headphones and I don't want to disturb the peace of the park. I'll risk brain cancer rather than disturb the squirrels and the pigeons and the fucking magpies and everything else. So I'm there listening. So she goes, 1-1 yesterday, Old Trafford, blah, blah, blah. Joining us now to discuss this is, she introduced two women. A Scouse woman who has a podcast and a Mancunian woman who has a podcast about football. And I turned it off. I just turned it off. Fuck that. Bang, gone. I'm not listening to it. Women. Asians. Blacks. What's your problem, Richie? I just told you I have no problem with it. I'm not saying that women, Asians and blacks don't watch or listen to football. But Jesus Christ, there's no end to it. Watch it back on Sky if you've got Sky. Watch it back. It'll be repeated on the red button. Watch the build up to the game. You'd swear there was no white people in Manchester. I'm telling you. And I don't sympathise with the alt-right or the conservative right. They're fucking idiots. All of them. Just like the Social Democrats on the left. Muppets. But on this, they're onto something. This inclusivity bullshit. Oh, it was dreadful. Oh, when Burden said this morning on Radio 5 that we got two women to discuss it, fuck off. I'm gone. I don't want to hear him. I watch football to get away from women. You absolutely sexist, miserable sexist bastard. Do you know what? I'm known by a lot of people. I don't have a sexist bone in my body. Genuinely don't. I'm guilty of a lot, but not sexism. You know? But is there some truth in that on a Saturday afternoon? You're escaping. It's not that I'm escaping from the future Mrs. Allen. I'm being with the lads. It's a male thing. You know, women generally don't like soccer. They don't. If you did a cross-section of society and got about 500 women together and said, right, how and asked them a series of detailed questions, most women are like, I couldn't give a shit about it. It's a boring game, not interested. Some women will like it. But they'll be in the vast, you know, a significant minority. Fucking everywhere now. Every time you turn Sky on, it's a woman presenting it. Men are being... It's not white men, it's men in general. Give me a break, you know. I want to switch it on. I don't want to see women on there. Fucking sexy 23-year-old women. I don't want to see it. Fuck off. It's for men. He's finally unearthing who he really is. This baldy, misogynistic bastard. Good morning to Graham Booth, by the way. How you doing, Graham? YouTube.com/trigger warning top man. Check him out. Thanks very much, Graham. You're a legend. I really appreciate that. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not saying it very eloquently, but you see where I'm going. There's some sort of mind fuckery going on here. Leave us alone, right? Leave us alone. Man. Just let us go out there and earn a crust and bring it home. That's all we want to do. It's in our DNA. We're the hunter-gatherers. Fucking leave us do that. That's all we want. Bit of football at the weekend. Do what you want then. Right? But give us a fucking break. The TV licence covers this as well, right? Going to have to go now in a minute. I'm really running out of time here. Sorry to everybody who came late to it, but it will upload automatically onto YouTube and you'll see what you missed. And you know what? You didn't miss very much because it's shit today. And I'm shit today. I really am. Here's Nicky Morgan, Culture Secretary. She's taken on the BBC. She wants to abolish the licence fee. Of course, it's a disgrace to compel a nation of people to buy something that they don't want to buy. To pay for crap television programming. Strictly Come Fucking Dancing. I mean, give me a break. The Apprentice with Alan Sugar. Give me a break. Right? What the fuck does Alan Sugar know about business? Nothing. Nor does any of the people that appear on that programme either, seemingly. Crap they dish up to you and demand you pay for it. Well, what I really like about this article in the Telegraph today is this. Bear with me. Bear with me, I said. Right. As Andrew Marr once put it, that's the Andrew Marr Show. You listening to this? The BBC is not impartial or neutral. Now, this is the Andrew Marr Show. It's their big flagship programme, weekend political programme where it interviews the political heavyweights. Marr, right? The Marr Show. This is straight out of the horse's mouth. The BBC isn't impartial or neutral. It's a publicly funded urban organisation with an abnormally large number of young people, ethnic minorities and gay people. It has a liberal bias. Not so much a party political bias. It is better expressed as a cultural liberal bias, says Andrew Marr. And there's more. There's more on that. Very good today, the Telegraph. Let me bring you up the rest of it. Okay? Here we go. Yeah. Comedy is based around the idea, this is BBC comedy, that simply to say Boris, Brexit or Daily Mail is to deliver a side-splitting punchline. Drama is now so achingly woke that you can immediately infer who the goodies and baddies are from their ethnicity. It is easy to imagine an EastEnders plot about, say, trans people struggling against bigotry, but can you imagine an episode about a market trader being impoverished by EU directives? So get rid of the TV licence. I don't have one. I've never had one in the UK. And I never will have one. They waste a lot of time sending letters to houses addressed to anybody in general because they don't know who's living where, saying we're going to be in your area. Threatening letters. The cheek of these bastards. The cheek of them. Huh? Threatening letters. We're coming to fucking see you, are you? I can't wait till you knock on the door. I can't wait. We'll see how that goes. Huh? Hi, I'm from the TV. Are you? Fuck off. Get off my property. End of conversation. That's how it works. Can we come inside? I refer you to the answer I gave earlier. End of conversation, right? Paying for that shit. For that programming. No. Particularly when one of its highest paid presenters just gives you the rundown on what it is. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Hey, do you want 2,000 more Greta Thunbergs in the world? You do. Here's The Guardian, because you're going to get them. There's a summit in London where they're bringing 2,000 young prodigies to tell us how the world really is and what we need to do. And we better do it. Unbelievable. One young world it is. I'd love to be given 10 minutes to speak at one of these conferences. I only need 10 minutes. I don't need a half an hour. Just give me 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Couple of interesting lines in the article from Amelia Hill. Here you go. You ready? You ready for this? Let me read this. Because it's classic inversion. Ike would say inversion. Ike loves the word inversion. And he's right. It's a good word. Classic inversion, this. I just need to find the bloody... Where is the article? Where is the article? Yeah. In the article, Amelia Hill says... Well, actually, let's be fair now. Amelia Hill quotes a woman called Kate Robertson. Kate's a co-founder of this organisation, this not-for-profit organisation that's called One Young World, right? And Kate says something very funny. This new generation, says Kate, you can see it at the top of the page there, is the most informed, most educated, most connected generation in human history. That is a classic inversion, because it is fucking bullshit. It is the opposite. It is the least informed, least educated, and least connected generation in human history. Why? Well, it's not informed, it's not educated, it's programmed. And it's certainly not connected because young people, most of young people's interpersonal relationships are conducted on this fucking thing here. What's connected about that? I had a connection with some people on Saturday night. Friends of mine came around to our home and we had a few drinks and we had a little bite to eat. That's a connection. People in the same room, chatting, exchanging views and opinions. That's a connection. The generation, well, it's not the generation before me, it's the generation before the generation before me. They're the least connected generation you could imagine. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. But these 2,000 lunatic Greta wannabes will be in London, and some of the world's most famous leaders. You'll have all sorts of people from Mary Robinson, from Ban Ki-moon, politicians in Labour and in the Conservative Party can't wait to go and be told by teenagers and 20-somethings how the world really is and what should really happen. What a load of bollocks that is. But there you are. What do we have then before we go? Last one before we go. I've been on for 45 minutes now. Bridget the midget could be in jail for 15 years. This is not funny now. Bridget broke into her boyfriend's home and stabbed him in the leg because he was having it off with another woman. I love these tabloid stories, you know, because just when you're flipping through the Daily Mail and you're depressed, you come across one of these stories. Stabbing is not good, children. But Bridget, by the way, whose real name is Cheryl Murphy, got to be one of us, Bridget, got to be one of us, got to be a Paddy, was unhappy and broke in under cover of darkness and faces up to 15 years in jail. I don't know. We live in a mad world. There you go. Look, I've got to go. There's a bloke coming to do a load of hammering and banging in a minute. And it's going to make a bit of noise. So there you are. I'll be with you at 5 o'clock. I don't know what's happening at 5. I've got an appointment today. I've got a medical appointment. I've got a scan today. It's nothing serious. It's no big deal. But I've got a scan. And the hospital's not far away. But I've got some stuff planned for the show. I will be with you at 5. We will have a show. It will be funny. It will be interesting. I can tell you that. And that'll be at 5 on the usual channel. Sorry for starting this early. Back to normal tomorrow. And I'm sorry for not reading more of your comments. All right? All right. I'm sure you'll forgive me for that. Right. Until then, 5 o'clock, it is bye from me and it's bye from him. See you at 5. Bye.